All right, welcome to my first official YouTube video. So I've been putting this off for a long time, and the biggest reason why is the fact that I have been struggling with addiction behind closed doors. So for those who don't know, I do run a podcast called the Squats and Sober Thoughts podcast. I am an online fitness coach. I co-own a gym here at Edmonton, Alberta. And I help a lot of people who struggle with addiction get through addiction. And for the last 6 months behind closed doors, I myself have personally been struggling with addiction, and I've now encountered a point of cognitive dissonance where I simply do not feel good in my own skin. This is Lucy, by the way. She's going to be a pretty important fixture on this channel, to say the least. But as I was saying, that I've hit a point where I just simply can't help others who are struggling with addiction if I'm not going to be willing to help myself. And so I have decided that I'm going to vlog and document the actual withdrawals of cannabis that I'm going to be going through. So part of my reason behind this was that I did get sober from alcohol almost 3 years ago. December 1st, 2020. Lucy, stop. Is my technical sobriety date. It's more so alcohol-free date because I have since lapsed for quite an extended period of time when it comes to cannabis. It's unfortunately very common in my industry for coaches like myself to struggle with addiction behind closed doors. There is an intense amount of shame that is carried with it. There is a lot of embarrassment around the fact that I have come out about this publicly on more than one occasion. But one of the things that allowed me to stay accountable and stay with my sobriety in December of 2020 was the fact that I was speaking about it publicly. Now, I've unfortunately put myself in this position where I feel like I'm almost on a pedestal, where people actually come to me for help with their substance abuse, whether it be with alcohol, drugs, cannabis, dating, social media, whatever it may be. And I just felt like an absolute hypocrite behind closed doors, knowing that I was actively using cannabis each and every single night. So myself and my psychologist have decided that since the intention behind my speaking publicly around this is to help others, that I might as well just suck it up and finally put myself on YouTube. So the intention behind this channel is going to be helping those who are struggling in addiction, regardless of what the addiction may be. After I get through the withdrawal process, I do intend on turning this channel into more of a sobriety channel, fitness channel, challenge channel, dog Lucy channel, kind of a whole bunch of different things. For those who don't follow me on Instagram, if you want to, you can head over there at MaxTheRockFit. You're going to see basically longer versions of what you see on my social media. The biggest reason behind making this is to help others who are currently in the withdrawal process or who have been in that position where they've wanted to quit for an extended period of time, but they continue to lapse and they continue to use and they continue to do things behind closed doors that don't align with who they want to be. So simply put, I'm going to put myself on display. I'm going to talk about the withdrawals. I'm going to talk about the feelings that I am experiencing. I'm going to talk about some of the little tips and tricks and hacks that I have used over the years to alleviate some of the symptoms and some of the withdrawals. But the reality behind this is that it's not going to be pretty. And part of me doing this vlogging every day, which hopefully this improves as I go throughout this journey. But the biggest reason behind this is to actually show the struggles that happen when you stop using cannabis. I know cannabis, because it's legal, especially here in Canada now, it tends to get a reputation of like, oh, it's not that bad, you're just having fun, it's legal, it's not a big deal. But if you feel the same level of shame that I felt around using, especially when it was behind closed doors, then I hope you feel that you are not alone in this journey of self-discovery, recovery, sobriety as a whole. So if you find any value in this, please feel free to give it a like, subscribe if you care about what I have to say. And as mentioned, hopefully I can refine this vlogging and editing process as the days and weeks go by. But most importantly, hopefully I can stay sober. So you will be seeing a vlog and some sort of post on me here daily to keep myself accountable. So today's episode number 1. So if you like this, again, please subscribe, tell your friends, anyone who may be struggling with addiction of any kind behind closed doors. I do think this will be of value to them. So thank you very much for following along, and I hope you have a great rest of your evening. Now, since this is my first vlog, there has to be some component of education. What I'm showing you here is the difference between a wrapped thumb and an over-wrapped thumb. Now, typically I like to get my clients to use an over-wrapped thumb for the majority of their pulling movements, such as this 3-point row, lat pull downs, seated row. It doesn't really matter. The reason I like doing this is it allows the client to focus more on what their lat is doing as opposed to what their bicep is doing. Oftentimes you'll see with general population individuals, their forearms and their biceps tend to give out far before their big muscles do. So yes, we could use straps, but in my opinion, for a general population, it's more important to get your grip strength actually caught up with where your relative strength is, as opposed to having my clients, lift heavier and heavier and heavier. But when it comes to actually being able to hold on to something in everyday life, it doesn't have a ton of carryover. So by no means are straps, not effective or not useful. I do very much think that it's a for who and for what situation. If you're a power lifter, bodybuilder, any sort of sport that is not nearly as much of a requirement to have very solid grip strength, that is when we would use something like straps. Well, I guess lastly, in the unfortunate and uncomfortable honesty that is going to come with this vlog, is I do want to keep myself accountable and getting back into shape. So I'm about 165 right now, not in the best shape of my life. My legs are looking a little skinny for my likings, I will say. But yeah, this is the hopes, is that we're going to put on, 5 to 10, maybe even 15 pounds, put on some muscle, start lifting again. That back workout that you just watched was one of the very few workouts that I have done in the last 6 months, unfortunately. So gotta start somewhere.